You're listening to the Life of Lozo podcast.
We are live here at Life of Lozo.
He is the funniest, smartest, sexiest guy I know.
Lozo is now live.
Yo, on this bonus episode, I share my thoughts on a few things and discuss my conversation with X to the Z exhibit from Chicago Open Air. I talk about the show Defiant Ones with Don and make a special announcement. Thank you to our sponsors, Stay Tuned Studios, The Taylor Shop Inc., 03 Productions, The Beeper Game, Rod Designs Clothing, Ronz World Guitars, The Music Experience, Custom Shirts and more, TheMishmash.com, MICHMASH.com, and Jack Sports Nutrition. Let's go. Yo, Life of Lozo podcast here, special edition episode. Oh yeah, it's going down here at Stay Tuned Studios, Studio A at STS Podcast.
Yes, sirree.
Here in Jacksonville. So yeah, we're kind of off the calendar a little bit right now, but I had a couple of things that popped up that I wanted to talk about and recap a little bit and a special announcement at the end of this. So not too long, but
stick around. You don't want to miss it.
Stick around. News at 11.
Dun, 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 dun.
Don't drink the water from your faucet.
Oh,
it may kill you.
I hope
more details in 4 hours.
Yeah.
So first thing is I got a chance to go to Chicago Open Air. I know that was an episode a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that happened was I got to spend time with Exhibit, the rapper. Have you ever heard of Exhibit?
I have not.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. He's from the West Coast, and he did a show on MTV called Pimp My Ride.
That I've heard.
Yep, most people think of that,
actually.
right? But he's an MC and a rapper and a performer. And he was in Chicago supporting Ice-T. He was actually in Chicago shooting episodes of the show Empire.
Okay.
He's on that show.
Yep.
And he was there. He was just hanging out at some concerts, hanging out with his friends, and I caught him back kind of backstage and grabbed a portable recorder. I won't say any names of which, not the ones that I normally use. But something else that was around that I needed quickly because he was
use
there.
What you can, at the time sometimes.
Right, and I used it, but of course the audio quality wasn't the greatest when it was done because it wasn't the gear that I normally use. Shout out to Shure. They supply me with many, many great things, and unfortunately, it was not at my disposal at that time.
But we're talking into SM7Bs right now.
Right now, right. So anyway, one of the things though that we talked about was just around. I asked him about his top 5 rappers, and that's a big deal always in the hip hop world. And he kind of gave me the list, so I kind of wanted to discuss what the list was that we talked about, along with some of his major influences, because a lot of people have been asking me about it. I kind of teased it a little bit, and then I heard the audio, and I was like, I can't put this out because it's just not. It couldn't be saved by Don. That's how bad the audio.
Wow,
was.
that would have been bad, sure.
Yes. So here you go. Without further ado, Exhibit's top 5. Number 1, he says the DOC.
Wow.
DOC from the West Coast, which was that doesn't surprise me. I know. DOC, obviously, for those that don't know, a great West Coast rapper who was down with NWA and with Dr. Dre and basically did a whole ton of ghostwriting. He basically wrote a lot of West Coast hip-hop because he got in a car accident and he lost his voice. He didn't lose his voice, but his voice got damaged very heavily. So the voice that he had on his first couple records, he no longer had.
Wow.
So he kind of turned into a ghostwriter, right? So Exhibit and I talked a little bit about that, and he mentioned how if he would have had a second album, it really would have kind of gone crazy. And I agreed that while DOC's second album would have been crazy, I also had mentioned to Exhibit, I said, yeah, but the fact that he didn't, he really opened up the floodgates of a lot of other artists from the West Coast because he ended up taking a backseat to that and doing a bunch of writing, which then pushed the genre forward on the West Coast. So, number 1, DOC. Number 2, Royce da 5'9". Detroit representing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, I was very excited about that. So, yeah, being a Detroit guy and another Detroit rapper, and a part of him and Eminem is Bad Meets Evil. And just a big fan of Royce. I've always been a big fan of Royce, and I was happy to hear Exhibit say DOC and then Royce da 5'9". Then he said, of course, Marshall has to be in there, meaning Eminem.
Yep.
No surprise there. Then he said Tupac. No surprise there as well. And then number 5, we kind of went back and forth a little bit because he was trying to think of a 5th, and I started mentioning some of my top 5, and he agreed. He said, yep, I would go with Rakim. And then he said, but I would have to do kind of a tie with Chuck D. from Public Enemy. So I said, you know what? He's Exhibit. I'm going to give him a pass. I said top 5, but we'll give him top 6. Or we'll give him top 5, but a tie at the 5.
There you go.
Yeah, so I felt that was fair. He did mention a couple other times, though, that Cube was obviously a major influence for him, Ice Cube, and that he really, when he got in the scene, a lot of what he grew up on and really those that influenced him just as a MC and as a writer were Public Enemy, Rakim, LL Cool J, Redman, and DOS Effects. So
Right on.
all of the ones that are on your playlist right now on your iPhone, I'm sure, Don?
Yes.
Every one of those.
There's a few you didn't mention, but I'm going to leave that to myself.
So I just wanted to share that with everybody. It was a really cool conversation. Had a great time. We discussed a little bit more around kind of today's hip hop and some of the music that's out there today. But I was just really excited to kind of hear, some of his major influences growing up and writing, and then of course his top 5.5
Sure.
rappers that he felt were the most influential. So shouts to Exhibit. Thanks again for the time. That was awesome. The second thing I want to talk about is Defiant Ones. Have you seen this yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Heard a lot about it.
Yeah, it's a documentary on HBO, and it's a series, and it's about artists and musicians that had really kind of helped redefine the world and music, specifically a guy by the name of Dr. Dre, okay, and a guy by the name of Jimmy Iovine.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, how do you know Jimmy Iovine?
Not personally.
Okay, so tell me what you know about Jimmy Iovine.
Wasn't he around in the 70s?
Yes.
Starting, boy, he was he a producer as well?
He first started as an engineer, and then he did become a producer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think of bands or artists that he worked with, but I want to say the Eagles, maybe.
I don't know. That's a tough one. This little small band out of Ireland. I think.
Two letters.
Yeah. U2.
Oh.
Yes. He did work with U2.
Yeah.
But even previous to that, and this is why I love this Defiant Ones. You got to watch this because you
I
being
love
an
that kind of
engineer, you're gonna love this because he's got footage of time in the studio with like Stevie Nicks, and he actually was dating Stevie Nicks for a while. Unbeknownst to some of the other people he was working with, like, I don't know, Tom Petty, The Boss,
Right on.
Bruce Springsteen.
What studio was he out of? Was it that the studio they had the documentary on as well with the mixing board? I'm trying.
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm sure we could Google it, but
I need to have my computer right here.
Yeah, you can look it up, right?
Yeah,
yes,
man.
But yeah. So the cool part is, and there's many more people that are going to come on this show in the series. But the really cool part was just seeing the pictures and the videos of the kind of the 70s and some of the 80s, and Jimmy Iovine, really being a big part. Again, first as an engineer, of just the guy turning the knobs, and I think just like he was just like working in the studio, and then somebody like didn't show up for a session. And they asked him if he could do it, so he just hopped behind the board and he made it happen.
Man,
and
right place,
then,
right time.
yeah, then became a producer, and then it's a great story, and it's cool to have not just the interviews with the people that were influenced now, but I don't know how, like thinking about like video cameras back then. Like, who had a video camera back then?
Yeah, and why would they even have it there?
In the studio, it was just weird, but it was real, and it's just good stuff and amazing things, and a lot of songs that I was kind of aware of that maybe he had been involved, but I did not know really how much he was involved in like getting some of these songs to different artists. So anyway,
wow.
I could go on forever, and I'm only about 3 episodes in because I was excited for it to come out. Obviously, I have 2 small little girls at the house, and it's been kind of busy for me about the last month and a half here.
Yeah, you've been traveling a
So
little bit.
yeah, I'm even behind on Game of Thrones, which is completely unacceptable, but I will make that up hopefully tonight. But anyway, I just started watching it, and I've tried to avoid all social media parts of people talking about it, but it is amazing. Highly recommend it. You should definitely go check it out.
I'll do it. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
bringing it up.
It's my pleasure. And then finally, special announcement.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so a couple weekends ago, I was at Combat Night Fights in Orlando, Florida, and a guy named Mitchell, who I was somewhat of an acquaintance with, kind of. I wouldn't say a friend. Just kind of ran into each other a few times at a mutual gym and mutual friends in Tallahassee. But I've really kind of enjoyed watching what he's done, and he was kind of a feisty fighter back in the day and was always training in the gym. And there was a gentleman that he was really, really good friends with named Josh Samman. And Josh was based out of Tallahassee as well, and was a fighter, and went on to not only put on and fight in some local regional fights, but eventually kind of got into the UFC, was on the Ultimate Fighter, and was an author, and just, really, for people in the MMA world, everybody knows about Josh Samman, and just the his life and the books that he wrote. He was a very open and honest and genuine person. And so he passed away last year.
Wow.
And so his family has kind of pushed forward with the Josh Samman MMA Foundation, which is a foundation that is dedicated completely, 100% of all proceeds going to giving scholarships and gear and awards to up-and-coming combat sports fighters.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
So kids. So like, it was great because I went to the fights to talk to Mitchell and talk to the fighters about the foundation. And what ended up happening was I spent some time talking to Tamara and Mark. Mark was Josh's uncle, and Tamara was his wife. Okay. They were there, and they had a table set up, and I asked if I could talk to them. I did some interviews with them, and it was just it was amazing just to kind of see how much dedication and love and support, and how much is spent to his whole family and all the friends and all the people that want to support this. And you got UFC fighters that are signing gear and signing posters to donate to auction off and to sell to raise money for the foundation. Just the sense of community and the sense of passion. And just seeing it live was awesome. And
Great.
Even the headliner of the fight, this guy named Jim, he had been in the UFC before. He was fighting at the main card here. He at one part of the fight, he had gotten this guy on the ground, and he took two fists and came down with two fists at the same time. Okay, and he did that out of dedication because that was something that Josh did.
Oh,
and they called it the Samman Smash.
Nice.
And he did it for his entire career. And if you ever mounted anybody, you're getting punched 2 times at the same time. And that was his thing.
Wow.
And when he did that, literally the hair on my arm stood up.
Wow.
And I was like, he just did that. And I looked over to Mark, and I was like, he just did this Samman Smash. And he goes, what? Like, he just missed it. Like, it was just an emotional moment for everybody there.
Right.
It was super cool. And it was just a great night. And I was a part of it. I got in the silent auction, and I got some gear, and I bought some shirts and supported the cause. And then I got home that night, and I was talking to my wife about it, and I was just like, it was
very emotional.
It was very emotional. It was awesome to see the fights anyway, and like see kind of amateur fights, pro fights, and just the feeling of like community coming out.
Right.
But talking to them and seeing what they were doing. And then, of course, throughout the night, I'm getting podcast content, and I'm talking to people. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking at their social media stuff, and I'm like, man, they don't have a whole lot of followers. Like they're doing something really, really cool here. But like I could tell that they just need some help, just growing awareness, and doing some things. So I direct messaged them the next day, and I said, look, I really love what you're doing. I think it's a big deal. I'm really somebody who barely met Josh a couple of times, but the few times that I met him and Mitchell, they were great guys. They were really funny. They were really genuine. They were nice people, and I want to help. I want to do more. I think I can do more here.
Wow, fantastic.
And so we connected, and we talked about it, and they were extremely excited for me to be able to help out. So I'm going to be kind of taking over a lot of their social media.
Wow, good for you, man.
Yeah.
And good for them.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it, man. I'm really just something to do that I can volunteer my time and help a fantastic foundation, just because I'm a huge fan of the sport.
Right.
And I'm a huge fan of Josh's, and I think the world of Mitchell, and I'm meeting more and more people in that circle.
Right.
But they're all great people, and sometimes I think just sometimes life makes a calling and says you got to do something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that.
Good for you, man. Awesome.
So I have this content and everything from the fight, and I was going to talk about it and everything, but I figured there might be something that I could do even better. And so, we're going to have Reggie Mack come in, who is an amateur fighter.
Okay.
We're going to have him come in and do a podcast because he was a recipient of the Josh Samman Foundation MMA Awards at the fights.
Wow.
And we're going to bring him in the studio and talk to him a little bit about his career and his life and what the foundation meant to him. and we're going to do more around just helping, push this forward and get the word out.
Great.
Sound good?
Really good. Really good. And again, how can people help out? How can if they're interested?
Yeah, so no, you have a couple things you can do. Obviously, there's a few websites that you can go to, and Samman MMA Foundation.org. So SAMMAN MMA Foundation.org.
Very good.
Is the website to go to. Also on Facebook and on Instagram. So you can go check that out. But the really cool thing, again, is that you can, you can go and go online and either print out an application to win, or not to win, but to receive potentially a scholarship, or you can fill it out online. But really, I think the foundation is really focused on assisting young athletes pursue the life-changing dream of MMA. So, Josh gave back to his community, his family, his friends in the world of MMA in so many ways that the scholarship kind of awardees, the scholarship wants to continue giving back to carrying on Josh's legacy. So that's kind of what it's all about.
Are people able to donate?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you go to the website, you can click to donate. You can click to apply. You can learn more about Josh. You can learn more about the foundation. There's some really cool links in there to even gear. I think it's like Samman swag. They have like a link on a website, and you can go like get some really, really cool T-shirts and things like that.
Right.
But that's definitely the place to go. It's just hit the website up, SammanMMAFoundation.org, for all the information.
Do it, man. Do it.
Cool. All right. Well, that wraps up our cool little bonus episode here. Thanks for hanging out with me, Don, and getting us down. And we will talk to y'all on Friday.
Later.
Peace.
The Life of Lozo podcast is brought to you by Stay Tuned Studios, STS Podcast, The Taylor Shop Inc., 03 Productions, The Beat Brigade, Rhyme Designs Clothing, Ronz World Guitars, The Music Experience, Custom Shirts and more, and new to the family, TheMishmash.com. That's right, TheMichmash.com, home of the dope Fago t-shirts that I posted about on social media a few weeks ago. And finally, Jack's Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, and review the episode. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.